Escape from Tarkov has had quite a list of contradictions and controversies, and while some are pretty small, some others are huge with important consequences. So today's video is about every time BSG has lied to us or contradicted themselves. Now, the goal of this video is not to hate, but to remember a lot of these promised mechanics and features, some of which even saw the light of day only to be removed later, because I think that some of these are truly great and they deserve to be remembered for what we could have had or what we are missing. This leads us to the first one I want to talk about, and it's tied to one of the most huge and hyped updates, which was the 1.0 release. During the entire development cycle for Tarkov, we got multiple instances from Tarkov TV streams to dev commentary that made it clear that in Escape from Tarkov, the world was always meant to be more than instanced maps. And in early development, the discussion was a vision that connected the Northwest region with no load screens between zones and a physical overland travel from, say, customs to shoreline, from streets to labs, and vice versa. Instead, the game that we got still loads each area as a separate raid, and there is no open seamless world, just a menu transition from one map to the other. And what makes it even sadder is that when you look outside the boundaries for each map, you can see that they are interconnected in a logical way. And this tells us that the devs went as far as organizing and setting up each map against the other, but fell short of being able to have overland travel. This also includes maps that were cut entirely, like suburbs and town, and instead they were relegated as a future expansion, which many players, including me, miss dearly. And even though people expected it, this was still heartbreaking, as the actual most expected promise was never delivered with the actual release of the game. But that will tell you that this is not the only time that the marketing for this game was plain wrong. In the teaser trailers and gameplay videos that BSG put out to promote the game back in 2016, we saw the inclusion of many really cool opening, breaching, or lockpicking mechanics, and they even showed us the animations for lockpicking, told us that it's nearly complete, that you could use the multi-tool, but it would have a set durability. And they also mentioned a lot of uses for the multi-tool, which we'll get back to later, because we never got those either. And specifically, we see the options under a drop-down menu for bang and clear, flash and clear, knock, and move in. Now, if you played during the pre-alpha, you know there was an extra 2 mechanics, which was axes opening the door. That never made it into the game, but they heavily mentioned it, and grenades opening unlocked doors. And that did actually make it into the game. If you played way back then in 2017, you chucked a nade in factory and it would swing open the doors, bring down the lights, they would swing. It would add an incredible dimension of interaction with your environment, which is very much needed, because nowadays the grenade goes off, you can still die to it through a door, but it will not affect the door at all. So if you breach a door nowadays, you'll see it leaves the door like kind of broken. That is the way that grenades made doors look, and they would swing back and forward. Now, we never got any of these mechanics. The grenade mechanic was removed, and right now interactive breaching remains pretty much unimplemented, despite being explicitly referenced in multiple planned feature lists and literally being one of the most wanted mechanics to help change the fighting dynamic and add a little bit more realism. The next slide that we got was the realistic flashlights and lighting systems, which were actually implemented back in the day, and this one hurts because, as you can see, early Tarkov builds showed physically accurate lighting and flashlights and a real dark interior. Lights had direction, fall of shadow, refraction, reflection, and it was oppressive and very beautiful. You actually saw the beam of light coming out of your flashlight. It looked like an actual horror game, but because of performance costs, Battlestate replaced these with more arcade style bright illumination, pretty much like a full bright beam, which is what we have nowadays, and it makes fighting CQB so much worse when someone uses it against you, and it largely functions, like I said, as a full bright mode. So flashlights no longer feel immersive, they just paint every corner full bright and white, and that is not realism, it is compromise, and that is one of the ones that actually hurt the most, because it looked so good. And as you can see from the footage, like, in addition to this, the devs always wanted to add power breakers and substations. They wanted us to have the ability to break open one of these, put the lights down in an entire building or entire area. And recently they re-added the ability to hit light switches, but it's like only one light in the middle of the hallway and it does nothing else. So when it comes back to what it was, it's nowhere near what they originally had in mind. We never got the breakers, and they toned down the lighting really bad. Like you can see in these early pre-alpha videos where the guy turns the light on, you will see that the light actually bleeds into the room, it'll light up puddles, it'll light up the floor, and it'll actually work like you're expecting it to. Our next slide is the multi-tool, and this one's pretty sad because it was always meant to be a real tool where you could assemble and disassemble parts from weapons in the raid. As you can see from all the promotional material, they actually showcase this multiple times. They even went as far as in 2018 removing all the RSS spawns, which was the rarest weapon in the game at the time. So no marked room spawns, and you had to go, I remember vividly going to Custom's old gas station and finding the receiver for it and thinking, this is really in line with what BSG actually thinks the game should feel like. It's a war-torn place, you're gonna have to get the parts, piece it together, and not just find pristine laying there as an actual ready-to-use gun. So in practice, nowadays you loot fully built guns, and the multi-tool rarely serves its original pitched purpose, because right after the 2018 wipe, they backtracked and they removed this change. The RSS was back on the table. No longer you would have increased spawns for receivers and stuff like that for rare weapons, because I don't think they found an actual way to implement this without people literally just using a different gun and relegating that to obscurity. So its deep functionality was completely removed, although I did find some pretty interesting information for making this video, and that is that caliber conversions are still planned to be in the game. I highly doubt that they're going to be in raid. They're probably going to be a workbench craft, which sucks. Next up, we have animations or models that were never really completed, and now while the early dev footage really promised a host of immersive animations, it seems like we have slowly crept away from them because BSG really put an emphasis on the lived-in animations that were teased before. We even lost the opening doors animation, and they have teased a lot of them, and the other ones have never been confirmed. Even though they are in the Plan Features official website for Tarkov, it is now more unclear than ever with the release of 1.0 whether we are gonna ever get them, but I'm gonna list them quickly, and that is dragging bodies, executions, which reminds me there's a repurposed animation for an execution in one of the endings for the game, placing scopes and sights freely, gun textures changing with the gun condition, climbing ladders, holding lights under your pistol with the left hand, low ready gun holding, refilling gas cans in raid, packing your mags with an actual animation, shooting locks with a shotgun, being able to loot the tequila hammer if your strength requirements allow it, kicking and knocking people down, which I thought was insane to add some CQB hand-to-hand combat, ability to move mounted guns and reload them and manipulate them, using bayonets on older weapons, wiping your dirty ass visor, setting up barricades, glasses having actual effects on your vision, clock watching animation, infilling into raid, which would be like scavving in but as a PMC, facial customization with paints, beards, etc., and ammo quality depending on where you found it. I'm imagining something like rusted ammo or pristine ammo qualities, but that is pretty much a lot of the animations that we have never got confirmed, and we really don't know if we're ever getting them. Coming up in the same ballpark, we have advanced health mechanics, which are really heavily teased in the Plan Features website, and now the health model in Tarkov is pretty much a simple limb HP structures, and we have bandages, splints, pain, and on the side we have hydration and food. However, the files, the UI remnants, and the Plan Feature pages show us a really ambitious system intended to include things like radiation effects, which might still be coming in the new map, blood pressure simulation, and unconscious states, amongst other health simulations that we will list just now. These options do exist in the database, but their full functionality was never coded or completed, leaving players with hints of deeper health mechanics that never unfolded. And among the coolest ones that I could find in the Plan Feature list are the healing of other players, managing stress, managing your sickness, and coughing and choking from smoke. So with that being said, that is it for me, ladies and gentlemen. I hope that you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, leave a like, leave a follow, leave a comment if I missed anything. There are a bunch of things like NPC reworks, AI, and skill groupings that I did not even go into for this video. And if you guys enjoyed, I could have a second one made. But as always, this video is meant to celebrate the game that we have, to celebrate the changes that have gone by, and to remember what we have been through. Because in a way, we are all part of the Tarkov history, and I would never have made this video if I didn't play this for 10 years and still enjoy it. So as always, I hope that you guys have a good day and take care.